Derived from Grey's Anatomy, Season 10, Episode 20, Go It Alone. In this scene, Dr. Miranda Bailey explains to a young patient's parents her plan to use gene therapy by incorporating an inactivated HIV enzyme to help treat their son's ADA-SCID disease. However, Braden's parents are skeptical about the sound of their son being injected with HIV. In this scene, Dr. Bailey tries to convince her patient's parents that there is no threat in the HIV treatment, but to her disappointment, they decide to revoke permission for her treatment in the last minute.
SCID disease alters functional T-cell and B-cell genetic material that causes the immune system to be non-functional. People with SCID are at high risk for infections, cold, and anything that our immune system works every day to protect us from. The mutation can be directly linked to B lymphocyte activity or non-functioning T helper cells. B lymphocytes are also known as white blood cells, which are a component of the adaptive immune system. These cells secrete antibodies or immunoglobulins, which can do a number of functions that include disrupting the active sites of viruses and bacterial toxins. B cells also flag antigens for destruction by phagocytic cells to ingest. In ADA-SCID particularly, toxins are allowed to build up in the white blood cells, killing cells that would fight infection because adenosine deaminase is not present to remove the toxins.
Good afternoon. Glad you guys could come into my office today. I was looking over Braden's lab reports, and after taking a look at all of his conditions and taking them into my consideration, I think I have a gene therapy that might treat his ADA-SCID disease. This treatment has been previously used in very rare cases, and it is not guaranteed by any means and may involve risks, but I think the risks are minimal and it will be worth it.
Dr. Bailey's idea essentially is to remove the protein coat on the virus to access the genetic code and replace the HIV with genes that will integrate into Braden's RNA. This will allow his body to produce functioning B and T lymphocytes. She chose the HIV virus because it is a fast-acting, replicating virus.
Isn't HIV an immune disorder that turns into AIDS and kills people? Why would you inject someone with that?
I'm using the HIV structure as the carrier of correct RNA that will integrate itself into Braden's genes and introduce B and T lymphocytes. This technique would allow for Braden's gene expression to be altered and for the enzyme adenosine deaminase to become present throughout his body, strengthening his immune system function.
Essentially, you're going to disassemble the virus and put in new DNA that would actually help Braden?
Yes, this process sounds scary and dangerous, but the benefits to Braden's health will be worth it in the end. Dr. Bailey's description of Braden's treatment was very brief. Dr. Bailey should have explained to Braden's parents that deactivating the HIV enzyme and injecting ADA allows healthy T cells to compensate for the missing and non-functioning cells already present in Braden's body. Dr. Bailey never gave a concrete reason why she chose to use the HIV virus as part of the treatment process. Dr. Bailey also could have explained the process of using the CRISPR-C2C2 technique and its role in monitoring the RNA progression of cells. Furthermore, she should have also explained the problems that could be associated with the treatment, such as the risk for leukemia in later years.
Okay. CRISPR is a gene editing tool that lets scientists cut and paste DNA. A new editing procedure recently developed will allow scientists to selectively cut RNA, which could block viruses and stop disease progression. RNA is the blueprint that genes use to regulate expression. RNA can also control which proteins are produced in the cell. This newly developed technique of CRISPR is called C2C2.
C2C2 only targets RNA, which allows scientists to make changes and control what occurs in a cell without changing the genetic code itself. This therapy technique also allows scientists to track the movement of RNA in a cell and monitor the changes of genetic information it has on a single cell or surprisingly throughout the whole body. Unlike RNA, DNA changes are permanent. RNA can be changed throughout the treatment process, giving more time to fight disease progression. This technique would allow for the boy's gene expression to be altered and for the enzyme adenosine deaminase to become present throughout his body, strengthening his immune system function. This also would not allow for toxins to build up in lack of presence of infection-fighting immune cells such as T and B lymphocytes. Wow, that was rough.
Okay. In this episode, Braden falls under an infection just before his injection, and Dr. Bailey administers the HIV enzyme while he is still ill. However, it has been shown that ADA SCID treatment injections given at the time of an infection have a significantly lower survival rate than those given when patients are at optimal health, all things considered. Likewise, this episode implies one single injection of the HIV enzyme is enough to cure patients for life. However, repeated treatment injections are necessary throughout the rest of a patient's life to ensure immune cells are maintained at proper functioning levels.